Hi, friends, and welcome to Reflect as part of Slowdown September. So, Reflect is our time to pause, turn inwards, and as it says on the tin, reflect. So, this sometimes includes journal prompts, thought provoking questions, a little bit of discussion. And for me, it's become a bit of a space for personal reflection as well. So happy autumn equinox, or my bomb. Many blessings to you for happiness, abundance, and everything that you wish for in the coming season. So I'm going to read you first of all just a little passage from the Almanac by Leoline Dirtz, book that I'm very fond of, very close to my heart. There's one every year. I'd really recommend it. Autumn equinox is associated with the harvest. The harvest moon is the full moon nearest to the equinox. Autumn equinox is the moment we must start to say goodbye to summer, reap its rewards, and prepare for winter. Common wisdom has it that on the equinox, day and night are exactly the same length. But this isn't quite the case. In autumn, the equilix, which is when day and night are exactly the same length, occurs a few days after the equinox. So, a little bit later in my reflect than intended. Also, apologies that you're missing a move slowly practice from last week. So, in honesty, which is very important to me, I've been feeling quite under the weather for the last few days. That could be turning of the seasons. For me, I think maybe it's still in this kind of summer way of living of go, go, go. There's a lot to do at the turn of seasons for all of us, especially owning a business, trying to sort of revise schedules, look at what works, what isn't working, seasonal considerations. And I think maybe that's caught up with me a little bit as well. So for me, the last few days have been about slowing down. I've spent quite a lot of time in bed. I unfortunately had to miss a charity event today, which I was really looking forward to going to in memory of someone that myself and my partner Jay lost recently. Jay's been able to go and support, which is great. So I have been feeling a little bit sorry for myself the last few days. And interestingly, the emotion linked with autumn is of sadness and of grief often. So those kind of emotions, which initially, I guess for most of us, bring up, negative kind of connotations, which is fine and is often true, is often the case. But they're all part of this, let's say, wheel of life, shall we call it? So just like the wheel of the year marks the Sabbats, the turning of the seasons, this wheel of life marks the many emotions, the highs and the low points that we'll go through. And it continues to keep on turning. So one minute, we're experiencing that joy and that high. Maybe that's linked with summer. The next minute, we're experiencing some lower emotions or some lower feelings. And that's okay. That's balance itself, right? If everything was always this super high, super joyful, then would we really appreciate that? And if we didn't have these kind of lower times, often they're times of learning and reflection, introspection, and also make us appreciate the lighter and brighter times. So perhaps just something to think about. Where are your kind of emotions at the moment? Where's your mental health at the moment? Knowing that it's okay as we transition through seasons, especially coming into the darker months, if we do feel that little bit of, stagnation, lack of motivation, even if we're feeling a little bit of illness. So autumn and winter definitely about boosting immunity as well. We move into different levels of nourishing ourselves in terms of food. So tending to move away from raw, colder foods into these nourishing, warmer, cooked foods. So I'm thinking of sort of like delicious soups, mashed potatoes, like pies, all of these things that are our real comfort foods, not forgetting vegetables as well, of course, got to get that one in, and lots of cake for me. And autumn's also a time of, or a season of dryness. One thing I tend to notice connecting to seasons is my skin and my hair, and how when seasons change, temperature changes, that has an impact on me physically. So moisturizing our hair, moisturizing our skin, taking good care of our physical bodies, as well as taking care of our mental, emotional, spiritual health as well, in terms of what we're ingesting, nourishing ourselves with, what we're taking in. And it's really contraction here, moving inward, energy moving downward. So we're transferring from yang energy to yin. We're not at the point of highest yin, so that comes in the depths of winter, but certainly a noticeable change in energy. And during this season, like any other season, we have organs that are linked here. So the organs for autumn are our lungs, which can be more susceptible to respiratory problems. So that's something to think about in ways that we're wrapping up warm. Breathing techniques can really help with this, pranayama. I'd suggest warming breath techniques rather than cooling ones. And also the other organ is the large intestine. And this is associated with letting go. So with elimination and with letting go. And that may be in a physical sense for the large intestine, but also our physical and emotional parts here are linked. So Chinese medicine tells us that everything is whole, holistic, interlinked. So we're not just looking at physical, we're looking at emotional, mental, spiritual, all of this is one. And it can be a tricky thing, letting go. It's often kind of said, oh, just let go, let go of that. For some things, maybe that's easy. And it's just like, yeah, do you know what? Done. But it can also be a process that is difficult, that's really challenging, that can bring about grief as an emotion. So that's something to think about. In terms of letting go, are we putting too much pressure on ourselves? So just because this season is about shedding, about letting go, we watch nature do that, don't sort of make yourself think, right, well, I've got to follow the lead. There'll be a lot of talk on social media. It's become a very popular theme to work with the seasons, but we have to do it in a way that's right for us. So I invite you, if it feels better for you, to maybe think about letting it be first. So take that pause and reflect. Just let it be, let it sit for a moment. And then as you move into the process of letting go, maybe there's a ritual that comes with that. So there could be a ritual of writing things down, tearing them up, releasing them into the wind, burying them, burning them. There could be lighting candles, meditating on something, blowing the candle out. And as we do, we release that. Could be a breathing practice of release. So it's really important in the well-being world, I think, as themes and conversations become popular, that we take what serves us and we leave the rest behind. And the seasons have become sort of a popular theme, the wheel of the year, the Sabbats. But again, work with those as serves you. So I hope that my information comes across as just pointers, things you can reflect on, prompts for you. Never me sort of telling you, and this is how you should live your life, and this is what you should think. That would be the last way that I would kind of want to come across. But often, as I've said, in well-being, it can come across as a bit more dogmatic than that. So just taking stock of how you feel, any heavy baggage that you might have been carrying. It's also a great time for a spring clean, but an autumn version of that, if you will. So if I was feeling a little bit better, I'd probably be clearing out some of my yoga classes, filing them away, notes that I've got, putting books to one side that I'd like to start reading through autumn and winter. So just these little things that can help declutter. Perfect time to connect with nature, again, in a way that serves us. That could be having a little walk around the block, going further afield, Today for me, it's been sitting on my back doorstep and just kind of observing, because that's all that I've felt up to. It's been a beautiful day in Birmingham, so slightly sad that I haven't got to go out and see today. But that's okay too. There's plenty more time. And this time of transition isn't just like boom, snap moment. It is transitional. So let that be okay for you as well. Don't think that everything has to happen instantaneously. And for now, I think just sort of being as you are, being grateful for who you are, reflecting on what you've harvested this past year, maybe starting to make some notes, what you may be manifesting for the year ahead. And as best we can, and this is for myself too, maybe just trying to press pause and slow down slightly. So it's not always possible, right? We live in this fast-paced world. We all have a lot of different things going on. We live in quite an uneasy time as well, I feel, at the moment. But those little pockets of peace that we can find, maybe that's listening to one of the Slowdown September practices. Maybe that's taking a walk in your garden, round your block, or heading off to a park, a field, something that brings you that little bit of joy, connects you. And all being well, we do have a yoga in the park practice tomorrow, so Sunday the 24th. And that's followed by a community picnic. So another really important aspect when we move into autumn and winter is to maintain connection, not only to ourselves, to nature around us, but to other humans as well. So I know for me, I'm sort of a bit of a hibernator. Dark mornings and dark nights are here, and I think, oh gosh, I just want to sit in front of a fire and not close the world off, but draw inwards. And what's really healthy and amazing for me is owning Yoga Borne. So I know that I can go there, I can be surrounded by the amazing community, I can connect with people. And whether you are part of the studio, whether you practice with us online, whether it's just calling a friend, arranging a Zoom call with a friend. So just remembering to stay connected. And we can feel that sluggish energy come in as well. So that tends to happen if we do go into sort of a deep hibernation mode. And that can impact us physically, but it can also impact us emotionally, mentally. So perhaps thinking about scheduling in when our movement practice may be. That doesn't have to be yoga, that could be a gentle walk. That could be moving stagnation through breath, this movement of prana. It could be many different things. So we could be cooking a nice meal, knowing that we're going to nourish ourselves with that. Part of our kind of ethos as the studio and a community is more than movement. So although movement is incredible in many different ways, there are other things that we can do to stay connected to self and to really ensure that we're not kind of losing our motivation and drawing inwards too far. So like with anything, it's a fine balance, right? It's how we find that, how we create that balance for ourselves. And the answer for everybody will be completely different. And as best you can, pause, turn inwards. What are your answers? What are your questions, maybe? So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of reflection. I hope that you found perhaps some little useful tidbits or snippets in that. And I wish you a wonderful turning of the wheel. Just take good care of yourself for the next few days as we transition. And of course, beyond that. And thank you so much for being here. Have a look at some of our other practices. There's a late summer, early autumn reflection with some questions that you may find useful. There's also a reflection on autumn, another reflection on autumn, should I say, from last week. There's breathing, movement practices. If there's something that we're not offering that you would love to explore, then please let us know. And if you're just looking for something to really kind of get you through the darker months, we've already locked in a date for our spring retreat, which is going to be in a stunning location, around about 40 minutes from Birmingham, from the studio. So sometimes it can be that kind of giving yourself something to look forward to as well, whether that's the meal that you have at the end of the day, the phone call with a friend or family member, the yoga class that you come to, sitting and having that glass of wine or that, delicious piece of cake that you enjoy. What serves you? What nourishes your soul? What brings you joy in these darker months? So thank you very much. Take really good care of yourself. Thank you for being here. Bye for now.